Yo, this is probably one of the most craziest nights of my whole life. And I still can't believe we survived the entire night. I can't believe I survived the night. To make a long story short, my ex-friend picked me up to go and get her phone back from her ex. In between all that, we almost crashed into a Church's Chicken while almost a dozen cops witnessed. And somehow that wasn't even the craziest thing that happened all night. So before I can break down the story, I'm gonna have to break down to you exactly who my ex-friend was. I didn't place myself around a lot of toxic people back then, especially around a lot of toxic females. So this one female in particular, a lot of crazy things that I went through was with her or was because of her or was through her or whatever. It all happened surrounding her because at the time she was my best friend. So, or I considered her to be my best friend because she was the main female that I would hang out with consistently. So because I was in these situations, it made it a part of my life because she put me in those situations a lot by bringing my name up in those situations. It put me in those situations without me even wanting to be in those situations. Or just me trying to always save somebody because I feel bad, I end up in those situations. So no, it's not 100% on the other person. It's also because I used to like to save people, whether it was family members, whether it was friends. I don't know. I used to like to play Captain Save a Home. But to get into who she was as a person around this time in her life and why she was the way she was, I can't fully tell you that. I can only tell you from my perspective. And from my perspective, what I could take was she was a very toxic person. She was on drugs all the time. She was sleeping in her car all the time, selling herself all the time. And I felt bad. I wanted more for my friend. So I would introduce her to actual jobs, actual opportunities, actual people that, she can move around with and have better experiences with, but she wanted to live a fast life. She wanted to live a toxic life. I didn't realize she was addicted to chaos, but when I did, I realized I had to separate myself. But we were friends. At that point, I think she had started going to the same high school as me my junior year, so about 2015, 2014, one of those. I'm not sure. I think it was 2015. I'm not sure, but my junior year is when she started going to the same high school as me. So we ended up becoming close friends because I stayed in ROTC a lot. She was the ROTC instructor's daughter, and because she was into chaos, and I'm not going to say I was into chaos, but I was more of a follower. Anytime anybody was doing anything that seemed fun or interesting to me, I was right there. I was always the yes man. Like whatever anybody wanted to do, I was the person that's like, okay, yeah, let's go do that. If anybody wanted to go do anything stupid, I was the person to go do anything stupid with. I never had the stupid ideas. I was just always the one doing stupid stuff. Mom used to tell me all the time that I was a follower, and I used to take offense, but now that I am older and I realized, like, yeah, back then I was a follower. And this guy that she was with, she met him around the same time, junior year. So she was completely obsessed with this dude, and we're just gonna call this dude Tay. And then we're gonna call her Ray, as you can see in my other videos. And every single day with Ray, it was always some type of fighting, crying, drama involved behind a man. It was always something going on, and somehow I always ended up being involved. So how this ended up happening, of course, this wasn't their first time fighting. This was not their worst fight. I just so happened to be at this one, and I just so happened to be involved and be there to witness what was going on. It's crazy because I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm in bed. It's about almost 11 o'clock at night, and she calls me and she's like, he took my phone. I need to get my phone back. He's not giving me my phone back. I caught him texting other females on Instagram, and I can hear it in her voice. Like, I at this time, I know she's taking Xanax every day, and she drives, but I know, like, she's like how you say a functional alcoholic. She's like a functional pill popper. I'll put it like that. Yeah. Cause she was driving, functioning properly, moving around. I'm not going to say you couldn't tell, but she could drive. So it's not like I wasn't familiar with hopping in the car with her when she's already in that intoxicated state. But in that state of mind that she was at that time, as far as what he had done to her, I hadn't been around her at that time. So she tells me this, he won't give me my phone back. He lives 5 minutes away from me in Windsor Village. So at this time, this is taking place in Hiram Clark. It's a small hood area. It's not too hood, but it's hood. And she was sleeping in her car, like maybe down the street from me sometimes, or under a tree, or sometimes at the hotel in the same area so she can be closer to him. And I'm familiar with Windsor Village because I used to volunteer at the recreation center in Windsor Village. I'm familiar with the area because I also knew a lot of other people. I dated one person in that area. And he was actually staying at the house of the ex who I had dated in high school. So I knew where she wanted to go and get her phone from. I'm like, okay, let me put some clothes on and tell my mom. And I tell my mom, Ray needs help. I'm going to go ahead and help her. And in this process, I call up two of my I call up one, and he has a homeboy already with him, and that homeboy has a weapon. But I call up my homeboy for protection for us, mainly for me, but for us, just in case, because we in the hood. This particular dude be around hood dudes, they be carrying weapons. You don't know what people be doing in the hood. So you just got to be prepared for anything. I'm a girl. So I called up my homeboy, and he brought his other homeboy. So now we have two guys and there's two girls. She picks them up after she picks me up. And then we're driving down South Post Oak. Once again, he only lives 5 minutes away from me. So she has like all foot on the gas. She's doing maybe 80 down South Post Oak, passing red lights. It's only 2 lights until you get to that left turn to go into Windsor Village. So she's speeding. It's like a hill. We're going over potholes. Like, we're just bumping. The dudes in the back is telling her, like, chill or whatever. And she's not hearing it because she's going off right now. She's blowing up the phone that she gave him. Because mind you, this is a phone she gave him. And now she wants the phone back because she caught him cheating. And once again, this is not the first, second, or third time that she's caught him cheating. So, of course, she's exploding. And so in between this drive, after the first light, there's the South Post Oak Inn, and then there's the Pie Burns. If I can get a picture of like that whole street area, I'll get it and I'll input it. There's the Pie Burns, and then next to the Pie Burns is the gas station. Then across the street from that gas station is the churches. In between the gas station and the churches is the left to go inside of the neighborhood where we needed to go. So we speed past the Post Oak Inn. We speed past the Pie Burns. And I guess she didn't realize at the time that she was about to miss that left turn. So then she realized that she was about to miss that left turn. And she busted the left turn late, went up the curb. Mind you, we're in a Toyota Camry. That motherfucker survived through a lot, okay? It survived through a lot until it didn't. We went up, it wasn't a curb. It was a curb because it was a median. It was like the median separating the lane that's going right, separating the lane that's going, separating the lane that's going north, separating the lane that's going south. So we go up this median, then we go up the curb where the Church's Chicken is. And when I say we were only inches away from hitting the Church's Chicken building, there was no pillars, there was no extra curb. It was just up the curb and the building. And she hit the brakes just in time. And when you're off Xanax, you tend to black out, especially if you're mixing it with alcohol. And she had open alcohol in the car. So I mentioned all of these buildings because I'm trying to put in your head, the gas station is right across the street from the churches. Tell me why, in this process of us almost crashing into this Church's Chicken, there's 10 cop cars at the gas station just posted up for whatever reason. No lights on. They must have been there circle jerking. I don't know what they was doing. But now they're running towards us. The two dudes in the back freaking out because the homeboy that just straggled along by default, he has a weapon on him and he's a felon. Mind you, these are Mexicans. They're cholos. They hang around with Mexican hoodlums, so they don't like the police regardless. They, especially American police, they don't like the police regardless. Policia, they don't like them. So they're freaking out. They're telling her like, pull out, pull back, everybody kind of talking at once. And I literally was like, wait, everybody stop. Like, everybody be quiet. Because of course I know a cop is there's 10 cop cars. Like, I counted while I was sitting there. I don't know how many cops is in each cars, but I know there was more than 10. Did all those cops come to us? Thank God, no. There was probably like 5 around the car, and maybe 1 on each side. Like, everybody, they all came to the car, flashing their flashlights in the car. I didn't even notice at the time, but her arm was like full of cuts and slashes, and she was just bloody, like on her clothes. There was blood all in the car and stuff. So the cop is just like, what's going on? And she's like crying, blah, blah, blah. He took my phone, and I'm trying to get his phone back, and I picked up my friend, and that's all I heard. And then the cop on my side asked me the same thing. So what are you guys doing out here this late? And I tell him, like, her ex is abusing her. He stole her phone, so she's just trying to go get it back. So he asked her for the address where the guy is. She gives them the address, and they say they're going to go ahead and take care of it. And she just needs to go, and she needs to take me home, and we all just need to go. She drives to the house instead, goes to knock on the door. No cops are there, of course. He's not there, of course. So she gets back in the car. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out why I even got in the car in the first place. At this point now, I just want to protect myself. There have been instances where I've seen them kind of arguing, and it gets kind of heated, but I never seen any domestic violence in front of me. I'd never seen him put his hands on her in front of me. But the way that she's like all cut up and bruised up and lashing out and things like that, it was just getting a little bit too much for me. But I still wanted to be there for my friend. Like, only people who know. Like, somebody could have you in the most chaotic situation, knowing you have free will, and you still decide to stay because you're trying to be there for somebody who has nobody. If you're not there, that person has nobody. So the least that you could do is try to show the only close female that you have as a friend that you can be a friend. So that's what I was trying to do as a human being, is to show that I could be a friend, even though I constantly felt like my life was in danger. It was a sacrifice that I was making to show loyalty and favoritism and dumb shit. I'm like 19. I'm 19 at the time, mind you. So yeah, back to the story. We get in the car. So now we're driving around because he doesn't have a car, so he can't go far. And she kind of knows where he walks. She knows his route. So she drives out of Windsor Village. She comes out of a back street. And now we're in like this middle area where there's a Jack in the Box, there's a Walgreens, there's a McDonald's, Burger King and stuff. It's like a little busy intersection or whatever. And she sees him walking by the McDonald's. So she gets out the car in the middle of the street, puts the car in park in the middle of the street. Mind you, it's about 12 o'clock in the morning now. She goes up to him. She's trying to get her phone back. He doesn't want to give it back. He's just walking normally. He's pushing her out the way. She's getting in his face, yelling. Okay, she gets back in the car, pulls the car out of the street into the parking lot and parks the car. At this time, me and the homeboys, we just sitting in the car. I tell them don't do nothing. Well, my homeboy, because the other one, I can't tell him don't do. I don't know him like that. But I tell my homeboy, like, she good right now. Just let her be. Because to me, also as a woman, if you're going to go up to a man, I always felt like this, because it's mixed disagreements. If I feel like as a woman, if you're bold enough to go up to a man, antagonize him, and physically assault him, if you physically assault a man, a woman, a trans, they have every right to defend and protect themselves and knock your ass back out. I've always felt like that. So once again, this is my first time me witnessing this. He starts getting really aggressive with her. He starts to push her, shove her really hard to where now she's falling on the ground and she's getting back up. She's getting back up because once again, she's tore up from the floor up. She is numb, Xanax, you don't even really know what's going on. You're just blacking out and just doing as you go. So now he's starting to get real handsy. I didn't see him punch her or slap her or whatever. Instead, he just picks her up and he body slams her. That's when me and all three of us got out the car, even the other homeboy. Everybody got out the car and we all ran over to help her. And after he body slammed her, he actually did punch her one time. After he body slammed her, he punched her in the face one time and she curled up in fetal position and then he ran off. with the phone still in his hand. So, we help her off the ground. We get her in the car. I'm already knowing it's not about the phone. It's about her wanting to be with him. The only time she slept at fields or parks or at the end of streets in her car was when they argued like this, or when they argued, or he had something to do, or when she couldn't be with him. But she did it and stayed in my neighborhood so she could be close to him. So, yeah, so at this moment, I'm realizing it's not about the phone. It was never about the phone. It's about him. And I've been going through this with her for the past year and a half now with this guy. Well, with different guys, actually. That was probably about the fourth guy that she would just get extremely attached to and didn't want to detach or didn't want to let go. But this was the most abusive. This was extremely excessive. Never seen anything like it. Like, I think I was shook. I was in shock at the same time. At that point, we just decided to go park somewhere. We just chilled for maybe another hour and smoked because I didn't want to leave her by herself, because I knew at that point she was about to go ahead and sleep in the car at a park in the hood. Even seeing her put herself in those situations, I still felt bad. I still decided to try and go save her. I didn't learn my lesson at that time. Like, I still tried to be there for her a lot of times afterwards. It was a situation where she cut her arm like extremely deep. I was not there for that, but she told me about it after the fact. We weren't even talking when that happened, actually. She told me about it after the fact. And at first she had told me that she punched her arm through a window, but then later she had told me when she was messed up that she had cut herself because he had left her and she was trying to unalive herself. So she cut herself straight down and she had to get stitches, had to get them taken out, or staples or whatever it was, all behind this guy who ruined her renter's history. It was just absolutely insane. And in situations like these, it didn't dawn on me not one time to pull out my phone and record, to take screenshots of, what she was going through. This specific person went through a lot. They went through a lot. It never dawned on me not one time to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take my phone out and I'm going to record this person so I can record every single time they're going through it. No, at that point, I'm genuinely trying to be there for my friend. At that point, I had no reason to believe that she was nothing but or other than my friend. Because a lot of people will be wondering, is this story true? A lot of people just post story times. Like, I wasn't in the business of recording people's misery or recording people just to, I was not in the business of doing that. Then when it got to a point where I realized that things were starting to become very shady and very fake, then don't be around me. Don't slip up around me. But being around her, I did learn that people do lose themselves in toxic partners. Me, around that time in my life, I did not do relationships. I did not do dating. I did not do living with other people. I didn't do any of that. I was living with my parents at the time, and after I lived with my parents, I got my own place. I didn't do having roommates. I didn't do letting guys stay over for multiple nights. I did not do that, because I looked at situations like hers, and multiple situations, of course, throughout my whole life, but that was the closest one that I was to, and saw how toxic something like that can truly affect your life, your personality, your future. Because had all of that not happened, this person would have a completely different life. This person would have a completely different look on life. And instead, this person got addicted to chaos, addicted to being in situations that do her no good. So, and the lesson that I had to learn was to not feed into that, not try and feed into the chaos and try and save someone who don't want to be saved. Another key point about this person is that she used to make a lot of emergency situations or whatever for attention. The attention was not for me, The attention was for whatever guy that she was with. Because that relationship only lasted for maybe a year or 2 years after that, until she got in the next toxic, and then the next toxic, and then the next toxic, and they're all extra super toxic. Mind you, I've been in my fair share of relationships, but in my adult life, I've been in two male relationships, engaged to one, which was my ex, and my husband now. That's it. Before, other than that, I was just married to a woman. I did not have the tolerance that people had to be in a relationship, especially at my young age, because I knew my own temper. I knew I enjoyed my personal space. I wanted to find myself. I wanted to learn and understand myself. And I'm happy that I did. Overall, I just had to learn that I had to stop playing savior for toxic friends. I had to let it go, because things could have took a pretty bad turn at this grown age. Now I know, do not get in the car with intoxicated people. We were young. I get it. I completely get it. Was that the first and last time that happened with me? Yes. I don't know what that person did on their personal life, on their own downtime. They had a lot going on, which again is why I had to separate. But things could have ended pretty bad. Somebody could have gotten shot. We could have gotten into a terrible car accident and died. Things could have ended so badly, and I could have lost my life trying to help someone else. That was my key point takeaway. Whenever I think about this now and I look back at it, it's that I could have lost my life. Just like in the other situations, I could have lost my life because I decided to try and play savior to someone who just refused to be better or refused to be saved. The hood chaos adrenaline is very real. Some people definitely get addicted to the hood adrenaline. Some people, they will come from all over just to participate and be a part of something that they didn't grow up in and know nothing about, and try to just insert themselves in and think that they are still higher above just because they come from somewhere different. It never made any sense. But overall, there's a reason why we are no longer friends. Just repeated chaos, emotional exhaustion, always being dragged into dangerous situations, because mind you, I don't hit her up and be like, oh, are you into a dangerous situation? Let me come help you. She would always contact me. So me understanding that I have the free will to leave these situations, if I am there to help, knowing that you're already in a dangerous situation, I'm knowingly also putting myself in a dangerous situation for the sake of you, for the sake of your safety, to help you. Which is why I had to stop. And sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes you just outgrow certain people. Sometimes certain people just want to stay where they are. And then as soon as you find stability in life, they get upset. They want to message people in your life and text them and tell them about how horrible of a person you are, not realizing that reflects on them. But I do have a lot more story times, a lot more dangerous situations that I was put in with this person. Once again, I was not around other females that put me in these certain predicaments. So I never thought that I would even be talking about it today. But the fact that I did go through these things, it helped mold me out to be the person that I am today, because I know better. A lot of people know better ahead of time and have common sense. Obviously, I did not, because I was trying to save a bird from a cage. Just got to leave him locked up. To top it off, the older I get, the more I realize peace is worth more than loyalty and people. And I'll leave it at that.